What's up? This is Leslie Smith. You're watching Blunt Force Trauma. Chill out with us for a little bit.
What's up guys, I'm Jordan Colbert. You are tuned in to Blunt Force Trauma, the video series highlighting the benefits of cannabis in the world of combat sports. Today, I'm joined by Leslie Smith. How you doing, Leslie?
I'm awesome.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
I'm stoked. I think it's a great idea. I think it's important.
Awesome, thank you. Well, let's start first of all by talking about some of these products we have right here. I personally have never used any of the topical type stuff. You're getting ready for a fight right now, Arlene Blencowe.
Yeah.
In Bellator.
Yeah.
So right now you are trying to stay away from this sort of stuff, correct?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, I can't do this because the fight is going to be in Oklahoma and they have a 0 level tolerance for metabolites.
Yeah.
So I can't do anything that puts THC inside of me.
Yeah.
So I have to do topical things that have THC, which I'm totally into, or just straight CBD stuff. So
Yeah.
I've got like a whole array of things. I haven't tried this one. This is the one that you brought for me. But this is a Care by Design. It's a 1-to-1 THC and CBD, and I rub it on, and it does a really good job with the pain stuff. Like I get bruises. I have lots of times it'll just be a muscle that gets all tight when I'm doing stuff and gets tense, and then it doesn't want to relax. And so that's when I'll rub stuff on. This one is external. This was one of the first things that I used. Yeah, these guys are really cool. It was really before all of the science behind everything came out. And so their thing was just, it works.
Yeah.
And it does. It totally does. This one, Rick's Magic, it's a CBD healing balm made with a CBD isolate. And I rub this on all the time. I use it a lot. We already talked about this one. This one is super cool. It's from Game Up Nutrition.
Okay.
That's the one that is teamed up with Nate Diaz right now.
Oh, nice. Shout out, Nate.
Yeah, woo. It's a really nice one. It's got a high amount. It's got 250 milligrams of CBD inside of it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I like that. And then the drops, taking it internally is a really big deal for me. This one's the Game Up Nutrition again, too. But it's lemon lime flavored, and it's 1,000 milligrams in the whole bottle. So I'll take it's got a calibrated dropper inside of it. And so I'll take 3 droppers full, which ends up being 1.5 milliliters. I don't know exactly how many milligrams that is, but that's what I do. It makes me feel better. It makes it a little easier to sleep. My favorite thing to do when I'm not about to fight in a state that has 0 tolerance is I actually make my own oil.
Oh, nice. Is that what this is right here?
Yeah, totally.
Tell me a little bit about that process.
So I order these bottles. They're not calibrated droppers. They're just standard droppers. And I double dip it. I'm giving away my secrets here. But I use backyard grown weed.
Okay.
And I put the whole plant inside of it, the buds, the leaves, not the stems. And I do it with coconut oil inside of what's that thing called? The slow cooker. Slow cooker.
Okay, in the
that's
slow
a good
cooker.
word for
it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Inside of the slow cooker, and then I strain it, and then I do it again to make it so that it's really strong.
Yeah.
And that's why I have it inside of the bottles with the drops, because I used to just have it in a jar and I'd scoop it out, but I never knew,
Yeah. Learning as you go.
Am I gonna be able to have conversations?
Yeah.
Or am I gonna be
You always gotta be careful. Make sure you're not teetering on the edge too far, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just nice. I use organic coconut oil, and so I know exactly where it came from. The weed came from my backyard, so I know that it doesn't have any kind of...
Everything home sourced.
Yeah, no pesticides or anything.
Yeah.
And so I like that. And it's just relaxing. It relaxes my whole body. I feel like I get more of a body effect when I use the internal stuff, the drops, than I do from smoking. And can I say this? For anybody who's new to smoking or cannabis or anything and just trying to get into it, I just want to highly recommend staying away from the one that make you go up.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that makes people like, that's the bad trips that people have. Those are the ones where they're like, I had anxiety and I thought that people were coming over and things like that happen.
We've all battled a couple of those bouts.
Yes.
It's happened to all of us.
Yes, totally. So if you're new to this, I definitely recommend asking whatever is the calmest one. Indica, but just, you don't even have to remember the name.
Yeah.
Just be like, whatever is going to be the most relaxing and soothing and a body high is the best.
Yes, awesome. So you've been a proponent of cannabis as a professional athlete for basically your entire career, correct? Mm-hmm. So do you remember the first time you ever actually tried cannabis for the first time? Do you have a story?
I do.
Let's hear that.
I do. I was living in South Pasadena with my parents, my older brother. He's 2 years older than I am. His name's Chris. He was cooler than I was. He was already smoking weed, and I wanted to.
Yeah.
People were calling me a hippie before I even smoked weed. Like,
yeah.
I
Might
forget
as well keep up with the stereotype.
stuff, kind of laid back. Yeah, totally. It's already my style. So the one thing that my dad told my brother when he found out that my brother was smoking weed was, don't do it with your sister.
Of course.
Yeah, and we had this backyard area that had a ping pong table and like couches and a record player. And so one day I was like, Chris, let me smoke some weed.
Yeah, like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, okay, but don't tell dad. So I think I got like 2 tokes in before we heard my dad's car coming back in.
Always.
Chris was like, honestly, I don't remember the rest of it. I don't think.
Yeah, the rest is just a blur. Anger from your dad, I'm sure.
Yeah, totally. What's funny is that my brother, like, I thought he was the coolest, like, hooking it up with the weed. He'd come home and he'd be like, here you go, Les. Just take out the seeds and stems, you know, and you can have some. And I'd be like, oh, thanks, man. That is so cool. And then I finally discovered like Kind Bud. And I was like, dude, this dude
changed your life.
Yeah, totally. I was like, never even shares the good weed with me.
Yeah,
what the heck?
Making you pick out the seeds and stem, you know. But that's keeping old school, you know. We've all had not the best quality before, where you're picking out seeds, you're picking out stems. It's a little bit more dirt smelly than weed smelly, you know. We've all had to go through that before, right?
Yeah.
So as a professional athlete, you have to navigate certain different things going about your cannabis use, right? Can you tell me a little bit, sort of just the road you've had to navigate, making sure that you test clean for all your fights and just having to really watch yourself? I mean, most people don't have to do that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like everyone should take breaks every now and then. You know, if you're spending all of your time high, then maybe you gotta fix some things about your life a little bit.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I definitely do my ups and downs and like partake heavily and then come back. But with fighting, even if the commissions didn't make a big deal about it, I'd probably relegate myself only to partaking at nighttime. Because during the daytime, I need my energy. I have to be able to do stuff. Yeah. And I need to be just on top of my game.
Yeah.
Although it's really, really nice during training when my body is super tight and I don't want to go train. Sometimes I start thinking about it and I'm like, dude, what do I do for a living? I just go like roll around with people. I don't even like touching people.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do? This is what my life.
Great choice of occupation.
Yeah, totally. And then like I'll start getting so deep inside my head about it and then I'll smoke weed and I'm like, oh, right.
That moment of clarity, right? That moment of just peace.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to for all of us. I'm not a professional athlete by any means, but at the end of the day, I think we all ingest cannabis because we like it. We all draw benefits from different areas. You're a professional athlete, so obviously recovery plays a huge factor. Can you tell me a little bit the differences between recovery via smoking and recovery via something like these creams? What the kind of difference?
Yeah, totally. These creams are going to be more topical and they help with like sore muscles or bruises or things like that. But in order to get that full body relaxation, and I feel like that's a huge deal because after a day of training, if I have a sparring at nighttime, and maybe we go watch some tape afterward and like have a team dinner and we're all hanging out. I come home and I'm like, oh yeah, and then she's gonna move and I'm gonna be like here, and then
super wired up, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I'll like lay down in bed and like I'm still like kind of twitching. I'm like, oh yeah, how am I gonna?
Yeah.
And so being able to smoke weed is just a full body relaxation. My lungs don't like it a whole lot. My lungs aren't a huge fan of vaping.
Okay.
They've never felt good about the vaping. And if I smoke too much, then it does mess up my lungs. And my cardio is a really big deal to me. It's one of the reasons that I make the oil for myself, the full cannabis oil, and take that is because then I don't need to worry about if I'm having a negative effect on my cardiovascular abilities.
Yeah.
And one of the other bonuses is that it does an even more full body, deep relaxation thing. Like I feel my shoulders just go down a couple inches. And it takes away the aches and pains for me. For some people, they say it doesn't. They say it doesn't affect their pain. Sometimes weed can be an intensifier.
Yeah.
And so sometimes... if you think about your pinky toe for long enough, you can be like, oh my God, it feels funny. And then you keep thinking about it, you're like, is it messed up?
You get caught up in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so sometimes cannabis can have that effect.
Yes, definitely.
On the mind, but the mind controls everything about the body.
Yeah.
So that's something to watch out for.
Yeah. In MMA, a big thing is sponsorships. How would you say you've taken advantage of so we're in California, for example, in a legal state. How would you say you've taken advantage from a marketing standpoint, sort of this marijuana hype that's sort of overtaking California right now from sponsorships?
I don't know that I've really taken full advantage of it.
No?
I mean, I haven't paid for any of these things. So I guess I'm taking some advantage of it, but it's not like I'm getting a whole bunch of money from anybody to do any of it. In fact, we can't even have cannabis sponsorships for our banner or our fight outfits.
Really? I wasn't aware.
Yeah. That is currently prohibited in Bellator right now. And that's kind of the appeal a lot of the times for sponsorships is that they get that TV time. So
yeah.
Without it, they're not the most excited about it. And I mean, I'm a really successful MMA fighter.
Yes.
I've been fighting in different promotions for the past 10 years, been in the UFC, I'm in Bellator now, I was in Invicta before that. But at the same time, I've been ranked in the top 10 of all 3 divisions that I've gotten to fight in. I'm successful, but I'm also not the most famous fighter out there. Like I'm not the most marketed or marketable fighter out there. And so it makes me really happy to see other people who are able to convert their marketability into extending the reach of cannabis and CBD products. I like you said at the very beginning, I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Like this has always been a part of my life. This is something that I've always done. So I'm not talking about it in response to sponsorship opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it because this is my life. This is
Yeah.
what I love. This
More
is
for
what
the love of the game.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe I'm giving out my support a little bit too cheap or whatever, but I mean I believe in it. So
Yeah, that's a good philosophy to live by. So like I told you before we started this, I've never tried any of these products before. So how about we try a couple? Is that cool?
Yeah, totally. This one I like. Does anything on you hurt?
My wrist, I have carpal tunnel.
Oh man, we can just do them all.
Okay,
This one's all, here, let me put that in my hand to warm it up just a little bit. That one's a cream, so you can just put it on. That one's 1-to-1. Whenever I have the choice, I would rather use the THC and CBD together because they work synergistically to have greater effects.
Yeah.
But that being said, I'll put on my wrist too.
Why not?
That being said, really any of them it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And a really cool thing about the cannabis, here, you can try some of that too. A really cool thing about the cannabis industry is that a lot of the people who are making these products are really aware of synergistic benefits and they like to use other really healthy things. Here's Care by, oh, now it's gonna be hard to open.
We can use roll on. How about that?
Yeah, let's do that. Bummer. It's one of the
Get
dangers.
this one open too.
I could grab a towel.
Got it.
Nice.
There we go. So this is a roll-on one. Oil. Get both the wrists going right there. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is something I've never had the opportunity to try. I'm more of a pure flower or vape user myself.
Ooh, this one smells good.
Yeah, it does. I like that one a lot. I like this one too, the Care by Design.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I put one of these. I have one in my car. I have one by my bed. I keep one inside the bathroom for right when I get out of the shower.
Yeah.
Like this is
always in reach.
Yeah, this is a major part of my life. I put them on my elbows. I put them on my wrist. Anytime that my ankles are feeling funny, I put them on side of there.
I can already feel that tingle starting too.
Nice.
Yeah. That's cool.
Anytime that I ask a friend to give me a massage too, it's always with these.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good stuff. I'm sure that just enhances, right? Yeah, that's cool. So I want to end this interview by talking a little bit about your involvement in Project Spearhead.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that for the people that don't know? It's something that I'm sure the hardcore MMA fan knows a lot about in your guys' struggle towards unionization, but it's something that the casual fan probably knows nothing about, and I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, Project Spearhead is a investigatory. It was an investigation into whether or not MMA fighters in the UFC were employees or independent contractors, because I believe that they're currently misclassified as independent contractors right now. And because of that misclassification, they are not protected by the National Labor Relations Act, and they can't unionize.
Yeah.
Look, I'm talking about the thing I care the most about, and now I'm stumbling all over my words. But
Don't worry about it.
basically, Project Spearhead is an effort to unionize MMA fighters, because MMA fighters do not have health insurance. They don't have life insurance. Although Bellator has life insurance. That was pretty exciting.
That's nice.
Yeah, and there is liability insurance if someone gets hurt during training, but that's not the same as like...
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, big difference. There's no retirement, there's no pension, there's no unemployment. There's nothing taking care of the fighters. They only can make the money while they're fighting, and then lots of times they're ending up injured. They're not getting the full share of the money that they're bringing into the promotion in the first place. Like the other athletes in the other major professional sports, they get about 50% of the revenue. It's part of their collective bargaining agreement. Yeah. MMA fighters who don't have a collective bargaining agreement, they get, usually it's like 14 to 20%.
Yeah, something ridiculous, right? Yeah.
Really small. So the effort was just to help MMA fighters gain a little bit more control over their careers. And I'm not in the UFC anymore. I'm with a different promotion, and the cards that we were signing, we had authorization cards. They were only valid for a year, and so they've all expired at this point. But we are still working on it. Mainly we need to educate people.
Yeah. That's where it all starts, right?
Yeah, the education, and then also planting that seed so that maybe somebody who's a little bit more charismatic than me can galvanize the fighters to stand up for their rights.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool, awesome. Well, Leslie, why don't you go ahead and look at the camera and tell them, I know you've got a fight coming up, talk a little bit about that, and just tell me what you're looking to do going forward. Yeah,
well, I have a fight coming up on November 8th. It's against Arlene Blencowe. I think that's my grandma. My fight's coming up on November 8th. It's against Arlene Blencowe in Thackerville, Oklahoma. And I hope that everybody comes and watches. The women's 145-pound division in Bellator has gotten really, really exciting recently with the signing of yours truly, as well as Chris Cyborg. She's fighting Julia Budd in January. I'm really hoping that Kat Zingano comes over. She's a free agent right now, and she would make a wonderful addition to the women's 145-pound division. But already as it is, Bellator has the best women's 145-pound division in the world. And I'm excited to be a part of it, and
there you have it. Thank you so much, Leslie. Appreciate your time today.
Hey.
Thank you guys for tuning in today. This has been Blunt Force Trauma. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video. And check out Leslie's fight coming up against Arlene Blencowe.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.